Okay, so what is DSEAR? DSEAR is a specific set of legislation which deals with potentially explosive atmosphere. Those situations where if things go wrong, we can have an explosion, and that is can either be from the flammable nature of things or explosion type events. The one area that it doesn't cover is actual explosives, which are intended to explode. They're covered by their own specific bits of legislation outside of DSEAR. So DSEAR fits in alongside fire safety. They consider completely different aspects. So the regulatory reform fire safety order deals with things like fire alarms, emergency exits, all the stuff you're used to that's covered on your fire risk assessment. DSEAR is separate and is broken down into two distinct aspects. One is what's referred to as a DSEAR-based risk assessment, and that deals with process risks and the things you actually do with these materials. And then there's hazardous area classification, which is an assessment to deal with residual risk. Not a risk control as such, but we'll cover that shortly. So first question is, what's a dangerous substance as defined in DSEAR? Well, the most obvious one is any flammable liquid or gas. It also includes oxidizers, but from oxidizers' point of view, it's more about appropriate storage. Combustible dusts and powders, and notice it's combustible, not flammable. So these are powders and dusts and solids which will contribute to fire, but are quite difficult to ignite in their solid state. It also includes materials which have a flash point which is above the temperature at which they will be classed as flammable, so they're not flammable, but they can form a mist and act like a flammable vapor. This is typically where things like fuel oils fits in and diesel. A relatively new addition to the description of dangerous substances is substances which are corrosive to metals, because as part of their that corrosive process, they can produce hydrogen gas. And then we've got other substances that can create explosive type events. The bulk of these are liquefied gases, which if they are involved in a fire, can create an explosion type event. Although having said that, that's not a fire explosion, it's the pressure wave that's associated with an explosion can be created in that time. And as we mentioned, it does not cover actual explosives, things like fireworks.